Welcome back to Transport Fever 2. I am Railroad Tycoon Rever. It sounds good, even though I don't feel like a railroad tycoon every minute of the day. But once again, as some people just love, I have paused the video. In this case, it's really because we're maxed out, and I want to make sure we have enough money. For those of you who didn't watch the last episode, I have made super long trains, or at least that's what I'm calling them. Maybe they're not that long compared to some, but right now they feel super long. But this train, since the last episode, if you did watch it, this train just made it down to Des Moines, gave us a nice chunk of pocket change here. And while we have that change, the problem is if we click on this Des Moines line so we can see it in yellow, let's come back to where we were. There we go. The problem's going to be when he comes in here, he's not going to be able to flip around and go back on this track. And the reason I had built this track is because at one point we were taking our Valley crude trains and they were going up to bring fuel. Now, we might want to do that one day just as an experiment, but at the same time, it's really not necessary. What I want to do is allow this train to go right straight through here. And the other problem we're going to have is this Valley. Hopefully we have enough money to do everything, but the main priority is going to be, get this out. I keep calling it Valley crude. As a matter of fact, you know what we're going to do? Yeah, let's go there. I like that name better because I keep calling it, even though Valley crude. Enter. There we go. And then let's come over here. Where is it? Right there. Oops. Don't know how to spell Valley. Right, enter. And then the other thing I never did, the reason I did it, because this was called Des Moines, and it's sort of out in no man's land, so I wanted to give it kind of a no man's land kind of name. But there we go. So now they're all kind of named sort of similar. So what I'd like to do is make sure we have enough money to allow these trains to pass through this station. And I sort of have a problem in the sense of I don't really want them on this track. I would really rather sort of start separating this out. So I'm hoping that we have enough cash that what I can do is come in here and configure this. Now this train is only going to be coming in this way, right? So I should only have to add a track here. Right? I guess I don't know, it seems awful expensive. Yeah, I think we want to get out of that mode, don't we? Yeah, that's fine. I'm not sure that you would, I think a lot cheaper to build it not like I just did. But in any event, I guess we can make them longer and longer and longer. I guess the extra long's not going to hurt in this case either. So maybe he'll stop a little further up this way. But the reason I did that is because even though these will kind of cross, do we actually want to, let me think about this even further. So this track here, I want to make a track where these guys can come in and it doesn't interfere with the Valley, this Valley crude doesn't interfere too much like with this long train, because these guys going back and forth, they kind of need like terminal stations, and this one wouldn't be. So let's see, how do we want to do this? And there's really no reason for them to be over here. Now, keep in mind, I don't want to spend too much money on this. So what I'm thinking of is the best thing to do might be to cross them over each other someplace as they come in. Right? So they won't even go on this track anymore if we have enough money. So this one only needs to be, in a sense, a one-way track for this one train for right now. We're not prohibiting our ability to do this better in the future, I don't think. So let's leave this a little bit. Right, and then we really kind of want to turn. Maybe not quite that much. Construction not possible. Oh, because it's okay. We need to get rid of this. I don't even know why that's there. See this little bit of cross track? I think that's what was blocking us. Let's get rid of the delete so we don't make it. Oh, what did I do? I missed again. All right, let's get on the end of the track and then go like this so we can kind of see. There's our target, right? Now, another thing, come on, stop that. Let's click into the road. All right, there we go. So we're getting closer. Yeah, let's come off of this one. Yeah, I guess after this signal, we'll see. Because some of this, yeah, it'd be good to come back a little bit to kind of see. Can we just go? Whoa, look at that. Yeah, I don't want to do all that. Boy, look at that. Oh, it looked worse. It looked like we were really high in the air, didn't it? Look at that. Doesn't it seem like it's, when you get close, it's not so bad, and the cost is not so bad either. All right, anyway. So there we go. So now that train can come in here, which is actually kind of good, especially if we were to, yeah, we don't need this signal anymore. What I'm thinking of is when it comes to this train stop here, we might even end up eventually putting 2 tracks on there again. We kind of have to watch the money. I think we have enough, but we have 2 different lines that come in here. And what I'm liking about this is that they're both now going to be coming in a different way. So let's get rid of this signal. And yeah, so this one, we're going to put 2 more signals up. One here and one here. All right, so this guy's, let's see what that did to our Des Moines line. Yeah, so he's not able to get over to here quite yet, but that's fine. We got plenty of money left. All right, so the idea is going to be that he's going to come right through here. Now, what I'm thinking of is we can get rid of this track altogether now, and that's going to give us an error, but that's fine. Oops. Was I on delete mode? No. So get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And this. There we go. And let's get rid of some of these signals, just because I know that they're unnecessary at this point. Same thing with whatever we have these for. All right, so now what I'm thinking of is we go like just straight across here with a track. And if we have some money, yeah, let's go from where this is kind of straight. All right, so we come right on across this. Hopefully it's not too hilly or anything. And this would be, yeah, I just want to make sure I attach it to the right one down here. So this would attach to this one. Yeah, we'll keep it like, so the speeds are up pretty good. Way more than we actually need. So there you go. So now he can come in here and come right through if we get all of these attached. So now let's take a look at what we need and where it would be best. See, like now we don't want this train on here anymore. So maybe we come up to Valley Crude. Well, let's go to Train Line Manager and see what everybody wants to do. Now, this is just this one is right now in error. So what we probably actually want to do, this guy's coming in this way. I'm thinking that, yeah, we keep this guy here. Oh no, this guy's coming out that way. Yeah, so I'm thinking that we actually, well, I don't want them crisscrossing too much. What would be the best train? Yeah, I guess this one getting over to here would be good. Yeah, let's just do that, and then we'll straighten it out once I have it straight in my head. And we'll bring this kind of long. Yeah, go past that. right? Just because this is going to be such a long train coming in here. No, I don't really want to do that. So can you go? Yeah. All right. So let's see. Let's go find our line. All right, and then now, let's see what this. Let's go and manage this line. And instead of Rochester West should have 3, right? So we should be able to pick. I'm not sure which one is which. Yep, 3. All right, so that guy can now go down this way, and if you got, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but then it'll come back and go on to this one. Now I don't like what I'm thinking of. Yeah, see, this is crossing on its way back, where this one is heading this way and then crossing. No trains are coming in this way at this point. And then we have the orange and the brown train going back out. And what I'm thinking of is, instead of doing that, why don't we do... Yeah, why don't we do... I'm wondering if we should... See, I don't know that we're ever going to need more than one valley view. We're going to have to balance out our production here at some point. But what I'm thinking of doing is taking this, and this train would come in and out this way and then split over, or would it be better to split it over before that? So in other words, like, do we take this and go like that? Let's go give it a little more room. All right, do we do something like this? Yeah, I guess we'll see how it works. I don't think it'll make too much difference. Yeah, let's go to like here and then. All right, and then this one would. Do something like that. And then, yeah, this guy, we don't need this anymore. Let's see what the train lines redid. Yeah, we have to get rid of that signal. What happened there? All right, now what happened? Yep, there we go. So he's not going back out this way anymore. So I mean, if we put this guy onto this track, he's still going to cross here. Does that see what I'm saying? Like, so either way, these two have to cross. And I think either way it has to cross here, unless I were to bring another track in this way. But even then, they're both going to have to cross. So I don't think we're going to really avoid the crisscrossing. It's just a little complicated the way that I did it, a little bit confusing. But I think that's okay. And then that means, let's take a look at this. Yeah, we really don't even need this track anymore. And then the good thing is we won't have many trains, and they'll each have their own track here. So even if one of them's coming in, yeah, hopefully they don't block the other one. Hopefully we've left enough length before and after the track that they're not going to cause a problem. But just for the sake of not paying for track maintenance, I think I want to get rid of this. All right. And then what do we look like over here? I don't know if I'll get rid of this because it seems, well, let's see. Yeah, see, we really don't even need this line anymore. Do we get rid of it, though, or is that going to become part of a passenger route? Like, in other words, if we had passenger trains, which I would like to plan on, let's just leave it for now for that sake, because if we wanted to get passengers from Rochester, would we go around this way and just take advantage of our tracks? Or if we did the same, yeah, well, we'll see. I don't think it's going to cost us that much. We're down to 700,000, but I want to make another improvement over here. Because while I was doing that one trip down, of course, one of these trains was in the works here. So what I would like to do is really This guy is stopping to pick up crude on his way back, but I don't want him to come down through this one anymore because either way, if we put this Valley View train, like where it kind of wants to be a terminal station, so instead of building another rail there, what I think I'd like to do here is see if I can't just bring a track this way. And this was at least in part a suggestion. Right? So in other words, this guy would have like a waypoint here on the one. I think that's pretty good. Well, I don't really, well, yeah, I don't really like that. Let's, yeah, it sort of stinks, this game, with how you end up destroying track that you just built. Like, it would be nice if there was a bit of a, there we go, that's a much better track. All right, so we can come down through here, so when he's on his way, and I'm leaving it a little bit long in case those other trains get longer. All right, and then let's bring this back up in a way that we know, even if we get faster cars one day, that's nice speeds there. All right, and then we're going to want a waypoint. It doesn't really matter. We'll just put it next to the station. And we're going to go over to our Des Moines line. Oops. And we're going to say, okay, after you leave, so we're going to, after you leave Rochester Fuel, right, he'll be coming back here after this station. And we want to add this waypoint. Right, so now they may still have a little bit of traffic here, but at least they'll be heading the same direction. They could cause problems. Now, this we don't need anymore. There's not even a... Oh, wait a second. Let's take a look at what I just saw there. So you're coming back and forth. I want you... you can't switch, or you're not switching. Okay, well, we don't want that. Let's take this guy. Let's see, could we just do that with signaling? I mean, I think we could say this has to be a one-way yes. Right? And so any train that comes in there has to be one-way yes. And that's just, I think that'll be an okay signal to have. Oh, wait, no. What do I have? No, this guy's coming this way. Yeah, never mind. I'm thinking he's... Let's just say, let's put on our... There you go. So that forces him over to here. Now, we probably need a signal right here. And I guess I don't think it matters if it's one way. No, I'm not real sure. All right, so if you're coming this way and there's a train... Yeah, let's look at our what we actually have. Yeah, so we probably, I think, need one here so that they don't interfere with each other. And then on the way back, yeah, there's no crossing. I mean, yeah, on the way back, we would really want one like in this area, right? Yeah, and then where do we put it? Yeah, I guess we can put it... You know what? I just confused myself. Yeah, we would need it here because when these two trains come together... Yeah, so we kind of need... Yeah, this is where it gets goofy, but let's just see about putting one on here. I don't know what'll happen. Or do we even need one? Well, let me know in the comments. So, yeah, we could put one there, and then I sort of want to put one here, but I don't want it to... It's almost where I'd want a two-way signal, because this part of the line is going to act like a terminal, if that makes any sense. All right, so what do we have for other signals that are just now dumb. Well, it seems like I would get rid of, let's just get rid of this one. Oops. I don't need to pay for all these. Yeah, it seems like we would need these two, except for what is coming in and out of here now. Yeah, we really don't need this one because there's not even a train. There's not even a train. Yeah, let's spin so I don't delete more than I want to going that way anymore. All right. This one we would need. This one we would need. And then we should probably talk about, I mean, these are splitting, so they really, we don't need one on the way out, but we probably should have one like here so they don't collide, right? Makes sense. They're going to be crossing right there. And then this is just the one train line, but we do have signaling there. So that should be okay, both of the ways in. And then we have signaling here. So as they come together on this, I think we should be okay. Now this signal, yeah, I don't know if that one's doing that much other than it's, you know, kind of going to let trains get in there a little bit faster. So that seems okay. Like we do want block signals in the line. Yep, that looks okay. Yeah, so we could have a crossing here. So let's just signal that. Even I'm not sure if that'll cause. This is the area that I was curious to see if, right? Because we're gonna have a train coming this way, and then this one would be coming in as a possibility, and this one we don't need. Right? Does that make? And then these two. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this one. Oh, wait. That was the one. That was forcing the one way. Sorry. All right, let's. Yeah, so we don't necessarily need this signal, or do we? Yeah, no, but if it's forcing the one way, then it's keeping that, forcing that other train out this way. Where we would need one is so that these two don't come head to head. All right. All right, so if this guy's trying to come back out and that other train's coming past there. And then this, we don't really need this anymore, do we? This crisscross. Let's take a look. Nah, nobody's on that, so let's just delete it for the sake of, what do we got there? Okay, good, that worked. Made me a little nervous the way the delete symbols looked. All right, so is that good? I mean, because when it comes to over here, oops. Yeah, these are coming this way, so we don't need any signal coming back. We really don't even need this track anymore. All right, nobody's ever going to come that way. At least not for now. There, what do you guys think? So for the addition of an extra track here, we've, I think, got everything flowing. And, oh, wait a second. Oh, no, that's, okay, never mind. Yeah, that guy's going to come back over this way. Again, we don't really need this track, but I don't want to delete it because it seems like it'll be good part of a, quote, diamond intersection potentially in the future. Let's see how it develops as we move more products around the map. But there we go. So we spent $400,000, but at least our train can make it back up there. Very good. All right, so let's play some time. Hopefully we didn't cause too many problems. Now, as we get money, I want to get this train balanced and our production balanced. So let me play forward time again just a little bit and pause, just again for the sake of the length of the video. And then we will come back and we'll take a look at how we're really doing. We still haven't done that. We still have, since the beginning of the last episode, we're just straightening out, making the production or the supply trains of the fuel at least be able to go where they're going to go now that this one's super long. And just in the little bit I was updating, I didn't have to change, or in between the episodes, a little bit that I fast forwarded, I didn't have to change anything more about the Rochester so far. So hopefully we got it straightened out, and I will talk to you guys in a minute or two. All right, see you in a sec. And I am back. And once again, I have used my ultimate powers of time pausation because we are on the cusp of not enough money. Our loan is still at $10 million. Not too much time has passed. About the only improvement two improvements I made. One we talked about, one we didn't. I put 2 signals here because as these trains cross, the trains were waiting a mighty long time at this station before they would decide to leave. Like if they came up to this signal here, they were waiting until this train got almost all the way past like this signal. So that way this guy on his way back won't end up waiting as long, or same thing with these. It's just sort of turning this into a block. Not so much to do with the intersections, but just to try to get them to speed up a bit so they don't wait quite as long back and forth. All right, so anyway, and the other thing we did talk about is I took the line Rochester and I bought 5 more trains for the one and 3 more for the other. So now these 2 both have 14, and I sold the 3rd train that was on the oil fuel Rochester. So we should be slightly more efficient insofar as that. And all of these are what I talked about in the last episode or in the beginning of this one. I kind of almost forget. But we've got this kind of all worked out to be what I think would be a decent supply rate for each of these cities. They might be oversupplying a little bit, but we'll see what happens, right? So as far as these rates. Now, the problem that we're having is now one of oil supply. Like I've ramped all this up, but I haven't necessarily looked at where we're getting the supply from for, say, this oil refinery. So if we come over here to suppliers, we're getting it from Norfolk Oil Refinery or Rochester Oil Refinery. So this is the Rochester Oil Refinery here, and then the Norfolk Oil Refinery is down here. So if we were to look at this station, it's got 134, and then if we come and look at this station, it only has 66. It has like 120, but again, keep in mind, this one is also splitting to go to the Rochester fuel oil line, which is the one that takes fuel oil down here. Now, I know it gets a little bit complicated, but it's simple in its own complicatedness. I know Dennis is going to love that statement. But in any event, we are going to just kind of focus on this oil fuel Des Moines and the oil fuel Norfolk. But I would like to make sure that more oil gets into here. And I think we need to kind of have a 2-prong approach. Or I'm sorry, we really want to make sure more oil gets into Rochester fuel so that even though it doesn't show you oil here, we need to get more oil here so that we produce even, enough to keep these trains full of fuel. But I don't think I can just ramp up supply from here over to here. I think I also have to say, well, you know what? We probably want to create another line and bring oil, like the same exact run in a sense, but we just want to bring oil or crude up to here and drop it off in the refinery, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, we just want to bring oil from Norfolk Refinery, yeah, I said it right the first time, up to here with like a train that's got its own line. So let's just create the line and not put a train on it. So I'm going to create a new line, which I need to go to here, right? And that will be a line that will go from here, Norfolk Oil, to here. Now, that line is not going to be the world's most efficient, and I don't have to do this. I like to, all right, where I'm just going to say, okay, we're bringing oil. We're going to load up oil in Norfolk Oil, and then when we get to Rochester, we are going to unload that oil. And again, I don't think it would mess this up anyway, but I like to do it for my own clarity as to what I intended. And then it would head back empty. See, so I don't expect that to be an overly efficient train, but it should help make sure that we're getting all of the oil that's intended to come up here, which I don't think we're doing, if that makes sense. So the other side of it is, let's get out of that white mode. I wish I could turn that white mode off, but the other thing that I would like to do is talk about getting more oil from here. So if we look at our lines again, I have 2 trains, and if we look at the rates, if we were to add up, remember we're focusing on Des Moines and Norfolk because that's the 2. Let's close this. That's the 2 that are coming into here, Des Moines and Norfolk. Now they bring their oil with them, but I would like to kind of get extra oil so that the line potentially, so we'll also have this one is going to be bringing oil. We should probably, let's call this, and say, I don't know, how about NR, N-R, Norfolk, Rochester, oil to fuel. It'll be a very different name, and then I think, well, why don't we give it an oily kind of color? Well, that's kind of my crude color. We don't really have, I guess it's all kind of good. All right. And I don't know if we already have 2 that are the same, but that's, we'll see. Well, I might change those. And I need to get that mod where we could have even more colors, I guess. But in any event, what I would like to do is talk about taking one of these 2 Valley crude trains, upping its quantity, right, based on how much we calculate here in a minute, and then maybe taking and creating another line. Let's do that now too. So I want another new line that's going to go from here, Rochester West, over to here. So that way we have these lines that are just bringing, quote, extra oil or as much oil as we could possibly need, even if they're not the most efficient things in the world. They should be dumping more oil in here. Now, having done all of that, I think we got kind of a rainbow mess going on here. Let's change this. Now, we already have a yellow line, don't we? Why don't we do purple? And then as a matter of fact, why don't we do, since these 2 kinds are kind of doing the same thing, we'll do purple and blue, right? And then this one, so we can't open it from there. I wish we could. Oh, no, we could change the name here. There we go. So this one, let's just call this, since it's all just up in this area, Rochester oil to fuel. Right. And then, oops. I guess it's not that impressive that it drops it all the way down there, but, and then this guy, much like the other one, will just pick up oil at Rochester West. This will be a much shorter trip, of course, which in some ways will make it more efficient. I'm not sure how much, because you're always getting the back and forth. So we're going to unload oil. So we got that right? All right. So we're going to pick up oil 100%, and then we're going to drop off oil 100%, even though I don't think we can adjust that. All right, does that make sense? So now the problem is our rainbow of colors. I think we're going to start running into a problem. So this is where we'll start spending money. Let's see what happens. So let's configure this station to have another track here. All right, and I don't think we necessarily need to make it longer, because this, what I'd like to do is separate out these lines so the 2 new ones that we created are going to come to this one, and then the other 2, I guess, can go to this one. We could probably make this bigger, but we don't really have that many trains to justify all of that. So here we go. So that without adding another platform, we should be able to drop stuff off there. And let's come and get to our track building. All right, and so what do we want to do with this? Yeah, I guess it can parallel that relatively. Well, let's see. Let's think about this. So we have, let's see, can I open this one up and pin it? And then can I, let's get out of that mode. Open this one up and pin it. Yeah, so we can see. So this guy's going to be coming in here, and I don't think the trains are going to be super long, so we don't really have to have this big a run up. So I think we could get away with. That was my concern. The reason I was hemming and hawing is I wanted to make sure, like, I'll bring this over as like quickly as I can, but I just sort of wanted to make sure we can get in and out. So we're going to need a track. We might even need a signal, so we'll leave a little bit of extra room. I can see the connection right there. All right, so we'll do like this. There you go. Make that. Let's keep it up to 50 anyway, so they can come in at full speed. All right, and then we'll kind of do the same thing here. Yeah, it's not too much. Right, and then if we manage this line, when we come to Rochester Fuel, we want to go to 1. And then if we come up here and manage this line, and we come to Rochester 1, right? So now these are all going to come together here, but hopefully that's not too bad of a thing. And then the next thing we could do is just to kind of, we have this one who now wants to go back and forth, which won't work. So we need to get another parallel track like off of here. All right, yeah, let's just go to there. And so this one is going to come in from this station, right? And this purple one won't go back and forth. Now, if let's go back to opening up this line manager and see, we have this one coming on here, and we really don't necessarily want this one. We don't want this one and this one. We'd kind of want it on this one, right? Because this one's already only half being used. So, yeah. So what it would be the best thing to do? If we took this guy and told him to come over here, we could, I don't know that I mind, because we're only going to have one train back and forth. I don't mind if they wait on each other, but I don't necessarily want this guy crossing. Are we going to be crossing twice? Does it really make a difference? If I were to bring this guy out, no, I don't think it really makes a difference, does it? Because they're either going to have to cross up here to get over. In other words, if we were to bring this brown line in here, they would have to cross. If we're going to bring, and the opposite over on this side. So I think it's going to have to cross here. So let's just leave it a little bit long and then try to catch up with this one. Yeah, it's the best thing to do to come off of, like, say, here. Let's, not buildings. Yeah, track. Like, if we just came from, like, here, and then, yeah, I want you to jump over there. Can we make you a little bit faster? Oop, not possible. All right, yeah, I just want to keep these speeds above 50, since that's what we can do. All right. So now we should be able to just attach this up. All right, and then our blue line, our purple line, manage line, when it comes to going to Rochester West, we don't want to be on number 3. I'm assuming that's number 1. All right, and now he just wants to go back and forth on there, which really, yeah, that's probably the best thing to do, isn't it? Just let him go back and forth on that same line. Yeah, why do we have a signal here? Yeah, I don't think we need that signal. Other than, yeah, we definitely don't want it there. If anything, we'd want it back here now. All right, so that if these are crossing, and then we'd want one here, and then we would delete this one, which I'm not even quite sure why that was there. So now this one, yeah, I'm really just planning on one train back and forth. So they should never interfere with each other. They just shouldn't have, or it shouldn't interfere. There's not going to be two trains here. This is the way we have this set up right now. Which, yeah. So this, yeah, this will keep them as clear as possible. But we probably do, we probably need a signal here just so these two. Nah, but then it's, let's just leave it go. And if I have signaling problems, I'll deal with that, right? So there we go. Does that make some sense? So now what we have to do, hopefully have enough money. Let's close those lines. Is let's take one of these two trains. Let's go to Valley Crude. And we're going to take this train, and now we have to calculate are we getting enough crude? Right, so this is 154 crude when they come back and forth. Now we need twice as much crude as we do oil. So if I were to add up a ballpark, remember we're looking, we messed up Des Moines. That's not giving us an approximate throughput. Uh-oh. But when I wrote it down earlier, this was 116 on the rate. Now again, I don't know if the city even needs that much, but and then this one is 94. So if that's true, we need 210. Now, Des Moines at 116 is already going to be dropping off. If it filled up completely with crude, it's going to be helping with the crude to the tune of 116 plus 154. Means we should have plenty of crude being dropped off here if we had 4 cars back and forth. Or 8 on one train. So what I'd like to do is come up to here, and again, this is not overly scientific. We're going to manage the vehicle, and we should have some money. Okay, and we're going to edit the selected vehicle, and we're going to come here and add 4 more cars. Okay, so hopefully that helps. So let's modify for 800,000. Now this train would only, if it's just going to take, in a sense, the amount of crude that's extra and bring that extra oil up. So I think I would leave this one at 4 for now, but I want to set the line to be our, not this one, Rochester oil to fuel. Does that make sense? So now if we look back at our lines, and we'll see how this works out, but we're now bringing Rochester oil to fuel a little bit, whatever we're bringing in the crude department, we should be bringing, probably not going to be a full train, but it was pretty easy just to not sell anything. And that should be bringing some extra oil up to here, hopefully maxing out the complete and making sure we're always getting our fuel to here, because our fuel lines are really our big money makers. Now the oil lines help too, but and then the other side of this, and I don't think we really have enough money, is that we would want to, we have this NR oil to fuel and we don't have any trains on it. So what I think we would want to do is buy another vehicle, and then we would talk about how much more we would want. I don't think it has to be a super huge vehicle, but I don't think we have enough. So I think it would be in the general size range. Let's take a look and see. So as far as that goes, like for the Norfolk, we're only going to be bringing half of the amount. And I'm thinking that if we were to look at the 2 lines as far as how much fuel we can take, 210 is how much fuel we can take. We need twice as much. And yeah, it's getting too complicated, I think, to even think about. But we are going to take this rate, 150 plus we said 116 is like 2 something. We would, right, this is 150 crude, plus we're going to be getting a little bit more crude or more oil. So we're talking about oil, not crude. Yeah, it really depends on how much we bring from here. Maybe we should just add another train of 12 to kind of copy this one to sort of double the amount of oil that we're bringing from here up there. So that we're not even, so they're kind of separate in their supply. Yeah, I think I would really, want to double this train. So let's just see how much that costs, and I'll play forward time a little bit, and then until I have enough money, then we'll go from there. Let's just see it. Yeah, so let's go back to our depot. How much will one of those generals cost with... 84 would be 12 because that's divided by 7. Yep, and we're mediocre, and that's going to cost us 3 million basically. So let's play a little bit of time. Maybe we'll buy that in the next episode, and let's just see how we do for a few minutes with this. All right, so maybe we could just go into let's go into fast forward mode. Make sure nobody, is doing anything really stupid before we end the episode. And it's going to take us a little while to get this going. I'm really kind of curious to see with this Rochester oil to fuel what we end up doing. Like, does this end up being helpful? But I also think that in order for it to be that helpful, we got to get that other train on the go too, right? Because it's going to be a bit of a balancing act between the two suppliers, and if it keeps ordering from this one and we're not picking up enough supply, then this one's going to slow down as well. And I think that's the problem I was having 2 episodes ago, is that I wasn't really balancing out the supply very well. But let's just see if we can't make a few bucks here on super fast forward mode, 3 million. Right? And see if these things don't ramp up in the next few minutes. Now, just so you guys know, I did post a link to a Dropbox in my Discord if you guys wanted to pick up after episode 4 when I started having all these problems. And I did it when Dennis and I were talking about things, but... Yeah, so okay, so this guy's going to be coming back empty. He didn't really make a lot of money. And one of the things I've been doing is just sitting here and kind of looking. So when he comes back from Des Moines, he really doesn't have... See, they're really just not bringing enough oil over to here, or this station, in order to make enough fuel. So that's why I really want to get that other train in the works at this point. So what is this guy bringing over now? 17, so, it's certainly not going to hurt that he's dumping more fuel into this station here. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to help until we balance out the supply by getting extra supply of of oil from down there. Then the other thing we'll have to make sure is that we don't starve ourselves of crude oil, too. So we might have to up the crude trucks. I think we're fine on the Valley crude, but the Norfolk crude is being done by truck. So we should probably think about making sure that this rate is twice of what we're using at the Norfolk refinery, oil refinery. I hope that works. I hope that makes sense. Certainly a lot going on, and it's certainly, look at the rainbow of colors we have going on here. But really, it's a lot of lines, but we don't really have that many trains. So is this guy consistently... he's bringing stuff up there, which just can't hurt. But like I said, it's well, the episode's kind of getting on the long side already. So let me pause it until we have enough money so that we can at least call our changes sort of completed, so that when we come into the next episode, we can just sort of say, and this is something I noticed too, is that there's certainly, now that we have big long trains, it's big dips and peaks in our money. Like there comes a big train right now, wasn't carrying too much stuff. But again, we need to get more crude here to get this ramped up. So how are we doing on that train, which is the one to Des Moines? Yeah, 76, not overly great. And is that because of the rate and all that stuff? Or how are we doing in Des Moines? Yeah, see, we're only providing half of it. So it's just definitely we're not getting enough supply into this station. And I think it's because it's sort of demanding a good percentage of its supply from here. And we're not necessarily doing a great job of picking it up from there. So I'd like to do a better job of picking it up from there and getting it over to here. So let me see if we can't get to the point we have 3 million, and then we'll buy the train, and I will be back then. All right, see you guys in a minute. Okay, just paused it for a half a second here to see about buying this train so we don't make sure we don't lose all our money in the meantime. And we're going to buy vehicles. I guess we could select here. Oh, no, we can't. Why is it? Okay, unselect. Really? You put me into a different mode? All right, so let's buy a vehicle. We did get the 10-wheeler. And let's see. You know, do we want a better train than this? I don't really see. Here's something else I thought about is when it comes to these cars, each one of these cars cost you 33. Really, so the train is like just having 2 extra cars. So it's sort of, you know, like there's definitely an argument that if you got the Baldwin here, which I don't know if we can afford it, maybe we got more money. Like, in other words, this extra max speed, if you needed it, may be better with like a few less cars. So instead of doing 12, in other words, we could do, oops, yeah, good, add it to the beginning, right? Instead of doing, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Like, so in other words, buying 2 less of these cars, this train would probably have a pretty good rate because he's still, you know, more than capable. Does that make sense? Because these cars are costing you a good chunk of what this train would cost. Now, in this case, it's even more. But if we were to put this on 12, you know, like, so in other words, running a lot of extra cars is costing you a lot of extra money. So I think maybe that's the better way to go. I'm sure there's a mathematical way, but let's go with that just because this one's starting to get a bit out of date. And I think we'll just go with this one, this Baldwin Classic. And just because it's got the nice over the 50 speed, and I feel like that's a little bit more efficient as far as buying forward into the future. And then at some point, I imagine these cars, like the other game, get upgraded to be bigger cars where you need, you know, you kind of need to update a lot of your locomotives at that point. But let's just see what 10 of these will do. And so we are going to buy it for 3 million. Really, if you look at it, it was only like 100,000 more or maybe 200,000 more than we were going to do before. And then what we'll do is put this on that line. Now, I was thinking about this. I don't know if that was the right way to go. Really, this is the same thing as the Norfolk fuel, but we're just telling it not to bring fuel back. Would we be just as well off putting another train on Norfolk fuel and then they would come back half empty? Does that make sense? I hope it does. But then again, let's just see. This is also, we'll just see. Let's just see what happens as we play this forward. And unfortunately, you guys are going to have to wait. Well, here, we can start time up a little bit, but I think we have to wait for some rebalancing. And while we have a few bucks in our account, let's repay. So that'll be, assuming that nothing like overly dramatic happens with my thinking, I'm just going to play enough time forward between the episodes in order to see if this last thing I did by getting more supply. So now if you look, we have 4 different lines that are bringing in, but we've got this extra from Norfolk, in a sense, a way of looking at it. And in a way, we have this extra from Rochester. So let's see what happens. And at the same time, like what I'll probably do is, oops, yeah, let's pin one of them, is probably tend to sit right here like this and see what happens between the two, and maybe even with the Norfolk one down here, and see if, you know, this extra train and the pickup is getting more of this oil off of this platform, which is just sort of, is this the extra 112 that we need to be getting up here in order to keep this guy supplied 100% there? So hopefully that's the case, and then in the long run, that'll help us supply our consumers, which should make the whole thing much more profitable, or at least that's the hope. So like I said, in between the episodes, I'll you know, go back and forth. Now this guy, just so you know, is tending to bring oil over. There's a lot of back and forth, so I don't think he'll ever be a profitable line at that point. But you know, he made 47 at this moment. And this one won't be profitable until it at least makes a delivery. And then I think the only other thing I might, well, we'll come back. I can hold off. We have to make sure we balance out the crude. Are we now not producing enough crude down here to get to the Norfolk? Now that we're going to up the amount that we're taking out of here, we might want to upgrade these trucks. And these are just the horse-drawn things, so I think we can replace it with the faster and more capable latest steam version of that. And that's, by the way, one of the reasons I put this to quarter time. I want to play with those things. You know, I want to use the different vehicles. That's a lot of fun of the game, is just seeing the horse-drawn carriages or the steam. Now this is a bit of a problem. Yeah, I'm not real sure what to do about this. Why are you... Yeah, I thought I was doing good, but apparently it doesn't like that. Yeah, I don't have $3,000. And I need a train. All right, well, I'll straighten that out. Yeah, there you go. Like, I don't know why he waited there. Like, why did he just wait there? Does that make any sense to you guys? Maybe you can let me know. I mean, is it because trains were in here? That's sort of why I put that signal. I don't know. All right, well, anyway, we're down to minus 900,000. Well, we got a little cluster going on here. Yes, we do. Everybody's waiting for everybody else. Well, this is the problem when you cross tracks without bridges, but that's all right. At least they're moving. Okay. I will see you guys in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be keeping an eye on this in between and just see if we don't ramp up and get our lines a little more full of stuff. So I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.